Are you new to the UK and are you also looking to purchase a property in the quickest way possible? Well, we'll be discussing today the fastest way that you can own a property here in the UK. Stay tuned for more information. Hello, welcome back to our channel and podcast. My name is Gemma, and here at WIS we talk about all things relating to money, mortgages and positive money mindset. So if that interests you, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the thumbs up. It really helps with our YouTube algorithm and means that you won't miss out on any of our videos. Here at WIS we are a fee-free broker, which means that we take our fee from the lender, not you. We were originally set up to help our WS accountancy firm finding mortgages for our contractors and self-employed. However, over the last 10 years, we now deal with all different types of mortgages, varying from first-time buyers, contractors, self-employed, expats, and more. We can help with everything from accountancy, wealth, pensions, insurance, and mortgages. So enough about us. On today's podcast of Let's Talk Money and Mortgages, we have Ifti joining us once again. For those of you who don't know Ifti is a trained accountant and mortgage advisor who has been in the industry for over 10 years, and he is also one of the founding directors here at WIS. Welcome back, Ifti. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Gemma?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Today we are talking about a topic that we get a lot of people ringing us up about, the fastest way to purchase a property when you're new to the UK. So let's just get straight into it with tip number 1, which is get on the electoral roll as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's right. I think a lot of people have the misconception when they come to the UK that they have to be British before they can go into the electoral roll. That's not true, right? So when you are in the UK and if you're going to be living in the UK, you have rights to vote, right? So it's an easy thing to do, right? You can register for the voters register. Some people wait until the card comes home and give their name, but don't wait for it. Just as soon as you come, once you settle, once you found your accommodation, just register on the voters register because your credit history starts then. That's your starting point. So you need to make sure that you're on the voters register. Get onto it as quick as possible.
So the second thing to do is open a bank account. If you talk to us more about this.
Okay, that's quite important. Just make sure you open your bank account as soon as possible. Don't delay. There are some banks who are a little bit more lenient than the others when it comes to opening bank accounts. Try to understand from your friends, right, which ones work best. If you're not sure, you can ask from people like us, which might work for you. But make sure you bring your address history from abroad because that will make things easier. Because the bank will want to see where you've been in the last 3 years. So please ensure that you've got some backup documents to say where you were in the last 3 months, like bank statements from your previous country where you used to live. So if you bring that, that will help, right? And there are 2 types of accounts. There are like basic accounts, and there are accounts with, which is a little bit more advanced, right? Now, if you take a basic bank account, it doesn't do everything that you want it to do, especially if you have like a bit more advanced bank account. I'm not talking about paying a fee for the bank account. This is where you have a guarantee sort of with the bank, right? So with those kind of bank accounts, what usually happens is that goes into your credit file as well, right? But with basic bank accounts, it doesn't go onto your credit file because it's just left as a standard account. And the second one, they do a credit check, right? That's the only difference, but there's no cost, right? So if you open that, the credit reference agencies will track your bank account as well, and that will help you, right? So open a bank account, which is not the basic one, right? They have 2 levels of service. Go for the second one. They will do a search on you, right? And they will approve it. So try and get that one sorted. So that's the second most important thing.
Number 3, we've got start collecting money for your deposit.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so you got to plan this from day one, right? So obviously collect as much as you can. This is why this is important. If you're coming from abroad, you may have savings abroad, right? So you might want to bring that down. Now, with these, you have to be very careful because if you're bringing money from abroad, the bank will want to understand how you save that money. Right, so that is very, very important. So they will want to see audit trail, how you build up that money, and they'll want to see audit trail of how that money came from the overseas country into the UK. So you need to show that proof, right? The audit trail, the whole trail, you should be able to prove that that's your money and it's earned from a legitimate source, right? So that's quite important. So if you are bringing money from abroad, use that. And of course, you can start saving. There are a lot of schemes out there to help first-time buyers, right? So you may qualify for some of these schemes like a lifetime ISA. Read the detail on this before you go and sign up to it. This might help you save a little bit more money as well, because the government is promoting people to get into these schemes.
Yeah. Especially with a lifetime ISA, for instance, you have to open it and have it open within 1 year to get the benefits. So that is definitely something worth doing as soon as you get here, if you can. Because sometimes if you're new to the UK, it takes you a while anyway before you can purchase your new property. So
Yes, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Number 4, register with utility companies. Why is this
yes.
important, Nifty?
Yeah. So just in case you don't know, the UK lending is quite often based on your credit score. So to improve your credit score, this is very, very vital, right? What the banks like to see is how well you manage your credit commitments, right? So your credit commitments is not only restricted to things like loans or a credit card. They also look at how well you manage your utilities, right? So you got the council tax, you got electric, you got water, you got gas. So quite often you at least have about 4 providers, right? So register with them as soon as possible because most of them charge you via direct debit, and sign up for direct debit as well so that the lenders can see the credit file and they will realize that you are paying your credit commitments on time. That's all you need to do, right? Anyway, you're going to pay the bill, so you might as well put it on direct debit and pay it on time, right? So that's the whole logic behind it. So get on to that quite early. But one thing I need to warn you is sometimes people who come to the UK, they sort of live with friends initially to start off with. Be very careful because if your friends have a bad credit history, it can impact you as well, right? So if you're getting onto a utility bill with one of your friends, just make sure that the payments are made on time because if they miss, you have a problem as well. So you may have the money, but if somebody else doesn't pay, it affects you, right? So be careful. You need to be on the utility bills, but be careful who you're partnering with when you're trying to do this.
Next point we have, open a credit card. This is important, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So overnight, you might not be able to open a credit card, but I have seen people after about 2-3 months, as soon as they're on the voters register and as soon as they've opened their bank accounts, as soon as they start paying their utilities, banks offer them credit cards, right? So you may not get a credit card from one of the high street banks, right? Because they might be a little bit more strict before they give out a credit card because you haven't built up history, right? But there are credit building credit cards, right? Again, if you're not sure, speak to someone who can guide you on this. Take a credit card, but please make sure that you pay your credit card in full. The idea here is not to build up debt, right? Because that's not something we are promoting here. The idea is that you're sort of getting used to the system, and so that the system can track you and it will benefit you in future. That's the whole idea. So get a credit card, pay the credit card in full, and that sort of will sort your problem and it'll quickly start increasing your credit scores, right? I've heard people saying, let's go get 3, 4, 5 credit cards. You don't have to do all that, right? You just need one, maybe 2 if you really want one. That's more than enough. Just make sure you pay it on time.
Great, thanks, Ifti. The last point that we have is working with an advisor. So why are these points very important if you're new to the UK wanting to purchase a property quickly?
Yeah, I mean, advisors can guide you, right? You might open a bank account with X bank. Of course, very likely X bank will offer mortgage facilities. But how it works in the UK is not all banks will accommodate people who just come from abroad, right? So an advisor will be able to guide you based on what you want to do, right? And what you want to achieve, what's the right route to be in. Because quite often most banks who offer mortgages for foreign nationals will say, okay, you should have been in the UK for about a year. Some will say you have to be here for 2 years. Some will say, yeah, fine, even after 6 months, we are okay to consider, but you need to have long visas, right? Or some will say your income needs to be at certain levels, right? But as a layman who's just come from abroad, right? I mean, I've come from abroad myself, right? So you don't know these things, right? So if you work with the right people, advisors who can guide you, it might make your route faster if that's what your ultimate objective is, right? So that's why I think it's good to work with an advisor. And most advisors, people like us or, someone else who's an advisor, they generally work with most banks, right? So if you work with most banks, they will know which banks are most likely to accommodate you. So that's kind of the whole idea behind working with an advisor.
Yeah, and Ifti, this isn't on our list, but I just kind of wanted to mention something else, which is if you're looking to get a mortgage as quickly as possible and buy something here in the UK, I really would also recommend getting a job as fast as possible. Now, obviously, some people come to the UK because they've got a job already, and that's why they're moving here. But if you're not coming here for work, but if you're on a different type of visa, make sure you get a job as soon as possible, because again, some lenders don't take into consideration in earnings from other countries, so that's something to bear in mind.
Definitely. And also, if you're married, if your spouse can work, maybe it's an idea for your spouse to find a job as well, because that will only increase your chance of A, saving more money, and B, obviously, both people's income can be taken into account when you work out the mortgage. So very good point.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ifti, again for some more great advice. I'll just put our regular reminder out there that these points may or may not be applicable to everybody. So please do talk to an advisor if you're unsure if these points are suitable for you. If you don't have an advisor, I will leave our WS contact details below, as we are always more than happy to help. A little reminder that as a mortgage is secured against your home or property, it may be repossessed if you do not keep up with the mortgage repayments. Thank you for joining us again today. We'll be back next week with another episode of Let's Talk Money and Mortgages. Have a great day, stay safe, and we'll see you again soon.